There are many genres of videos on YouTube. If you're looking for any type of entertainment from any part of the world, it's likely going to be on YouTube in some way, shape, or form. Video game playthroughs, news broadcasts, cooking shows, crazy people acting crazy.
I hate breathing! I hate being alive! I'm in tremendous pain!
It's all here on this one little website. But as the years have went by, some of the forms of content have fallen to the wayside, and have become sort of obsolete in today's climate. When's the last time you've seen a full Let's Play on YouTube and episodic video format? These days, people prefer to see their favorite online creators stream stuff live instead. Another one of these types of videos, in fact, an entire type of YouTuber was phased out during the 2010s, and that would be the RantTuber. This was a genre of YouTuber who would, well, as the name implies, rant about things, whether it be social issues, ongoing controversies, or stuff that personally pissed the ranter off. Every video was usually a guy in his bedroom with a webcam and just talking about things that pissed him off. The rant YouTuber came in many shapes and sizes. In fact, I've already talked about one in the past. They may not have been high-effort productions, but their low quality and simplicity made them relatable to a lot of people. People usually came for the personalities, and if they agree with the YouTuber on various subjects. But a lot of these YouTubers also became controversial for their views on certain things, and also for being extremely competitive towards their detractors. I think pretty much every single RantTuber had at least one type of controversy, or feud with another RantTuber, since there was always the smell of negativity in the air in this circle. That and the fact that the angry reviewer fad was in full effect around the time, this was the era of 20-something white guys yelling at a camera. But there is one I'd like to focus on today, who possibly had it the roughest compared to the others. This is BigAl. BigAl was probably the de facto RantTuber. At least for me he was. He's the first person I think of when I think back to those days on YouTube, and he has quite the history on him. Join me as we journey into his story.
Welcome to the internet, bitch!
Now, some of you may recognize this face, some of you probably don't. The explanation could be if you're over 25 or not. But BigAl 2K6 was a guy from Michigan who made his first YouTube account in 2006, super early in the website's life. In fact, he created his account and started uploading videos when he was still in high school. He, like many teens, found out this newfangled thing called YouTube and decided to start uploading videos, usually just consisting of him talking about things that pissed him off, in front of, what else, a camera.
I'm going to start a series called BigAl Rants. I'm going to rant about is the McDonald's Arch Card. If I received an Arch Card for my birthday, I'd be pissed off. Wanna know why? You mean to tell me that they didn't have the time or the money to buy me a better gift than an Arch Card?
He didn't have big sets or a lot of video making tools we have today. He was simply a kid from high school who had some knowledge of Windows Movie Maker, and made videos just from that. On Al's channel, pretty much any topic was fair game. If he wanted to talk about a bad game, he would do it. If he wanted to talk about a bad movie, he would do it. If he wanted to talk about people who annoyed him, or just do some skits on camera, he would do it. He would do basically anything. There is an entire video he made dedicated to Al attacking his bedroom door. This is what I think back to when people ask me what YouTube used to be, what people would usually do on the site. He represents everything about that era. When you want to be crude and brash and just let the internet hear about your opinions, and with a very colorful vocabulary on top of that. A number of his videos ranting on certain subjects garnered him a lot of fame, some examples including his rant on soccer moms.
Soccer moms, I classify as anyways, are overprotective parents, moms, who want to protect their precious little peckerhead so much that they piss off everyone in the process. And they don't take responsibility for the kids' actions, because they blame everything else.
Probably some of his best work was his Jesus Camp rant, which was this extremely weird and controversial film that was released on YouTube back in the day.
I've seen many disturbing things in my time. I've seen Faces of Death. I've seen Goatsy. Lemon Party. I've seen The Passion of the Christ. But none of that will compare to Jesus Camp.
There's hundreds of videos from Al in all sorts of different formats. It's hard to really categorize all of them. Big Al and a lot of renters back in the day had personality to add something to their vids. Al in particular was just a kid with interests and hobbies. His love for anime and Japanese culture, along with wrestling, were a couple of them. This is also during the 2000s when anime was still kinda niche in the West, so really we're talking old school One Piece, Kinnikuman. Oh god did he love Kinnikuman, combining two of his interests into one.
I'm a huge Kinnikuman fan, and I will rip people's souls apart if they talk bad about it.
One of Al's most famous rants is him going over the original 4Kids One Piece dub, where they censored a ton of things for the Western audience.
Oh my, superb, great.
It's so obvious. It comes from a bottle. He's smelling it. He's wafting it. He's saying that it's dry with a bouquet. Grape juice doesn't come from vineyards. Wine does.
He loves anime, he loves to cosplay. You can find him in all sorts of different cosplay get-ups over the years, showing his love for different franchises. But also in these pics, you can also notice, he's called Big Al for a reason. And that's not just to make a joke. Al loves food to the point where he's an actual professional chef. You can find a couple of vids of him showing off his cooking skills to the world. This love for food and cooking also led to another video series, with him watching and roasting a cooking hostess named Sandra Lee, along with another YouTuber from around the time.
What the fuck is it? Chocolate, cinnamon, vanilla, and apples?
That's what you call, kind of like how they used to give kids charcoal when they ate something to make them throw up. This is her homemade barf remedy, in case their kids ever swallow a bottle of Windex.
So being one of the first rant-tubers on the site, Al made quite a few companions along the way, a lot of them also being other rant-tubers and commentators. But compared to a ton of other ranters on YouTube, Big Al is one of the few who either didn't go completely off the deep end, or drop off the face of the earth. But not only did he make a lot of friends, he made a lot of enemies too. Way more than he made friends. And looking at some of the people Al pissed off, I decided to structure this video in a different way than usual. Al came across a lot of individuals in his ranting journey, he got into many fights and shit-flinging contests, and I decided the best way to describe his story is to detail all the feuds he had with different online personalities. And boy oh boy, we have a colorful cast of characters to talk about. This was the original YouTube drama, and if you're a regular to my channel, some of you may recognize a few of them. So this is going to be a sort of story of Big Al, and also greatest hits of my channel. Let's sit back and look at all the people Al has taken to the ring. Like all rant YouTubers, Al made a couple of videos that really pissed a lot of people off. I mean, when a majority of your videos are revolving around bitching about things you don't like, it's inevitable that some are going to take issues with it. But a lot of Al's controversies didn't really revolve around important social issues. A lot of them revolved around the unimportant, petty things. The things that had a fan base and these videos would rile them up. To really give you an idea of what Al dealt with on a daily basis, we're going to take a look at the shit smaller folks gave Al. One of Al's most infamous rants was his rant on Naruto. To put it bluntly, Al did not like Naruto at all, and he made it very apparent. He allegedly made a video of him killing Naruto, which I'm going to assume was some crappy MS Paint stuff, but I can only assume because I, for the life of me, could not find this video. I searched high and low for it, but it seems that Big Al murdering Naruto in cold blood is lost media. Hop on it, guys! Well, after he made that video, it caused quite a stir with Naruto fans, who were upset that Big Al killed their comfort character, and Al made another video calling them out. And I just want to say, some of his videos have not aged well at all. A lot of them come off as Al not doing enough research, or are purely based on his own feelings, but man, does this rant on Naruto fans still hold up to this day.
Naruto is a fictional character. He's a fictional character living in a fictional world with all of his fictional buddies doing fictional things that can never be done in real life. He's a cartoon character.
Naruto fans weren't the only ones who Al pissed off. He's also ranted about our favorite angry nerd, mostly on his fan base and how hostile they were towards any other game reviewer out there.
Just because someone reviews a game does not automatically make them a ripoff of the angry Nintendo nerd, except in your guys' eyes. Okay. So shut the fuck up.
Al was not afraid of going after the big boys of YouTube. He made these videos in full acknowledgement of the backlash he would get for them. And then there were his PETA videos. Yeah, nowadays PETA is kind of a dead horse. But for those who are unaware, back in the day PETA was a huge punching bag for many online content creators, mostly due to their online content. They created a number of parody flash games, where it usually revolved around the slaughter of poor innocent animals, and were really bloody and gory, usually to tell the players if they enjoyed these games with the content in them, you were a terrible person. Now I played some of these back in the day, but I thought they were just edgy for the sake of being edgy. I didn't know they were tied to an actual animal rights group and were trying to push for a cause. Al ranted on PETA a lot, and also showed off some of the games and just how over the top they were. Also during some of these rants, he also did have a few not very nice things about vegans and vegetarians too, since PETA was full of them.
At the end of my KFC rant, it shows me dancing, and in the credits it says, "Fuck vegetarianism." It's meant to be a joke, people. I mean, come on. A fat guy talking about vegetarians, it's obviously a joke, right?
Was it wrong to insult an entire community based on a few nut jobs? Yes. But you have to remember, rant tubers thrived on controversy and arguing. It was their life source. It's what kept them going, and Al was no different. He had a series where he would read out comments from his haters.
You obviously don't know anything, Tubby. If Satan waved a burger in your face, I bet your fat ass would sign over your soul just to take a bite. P.S. You're gay.
If you can make multiple videos reading out hate comments, you know you're probably a shit stirrer.
What an articulate and well-informed young man.
Now for me, I got to see a lot of this firsthand, since Al was pretty much one of the only rant tubers I actually watched back in the day. He's where I learned the term troll and spammer from, where he's able to describe them in a way for a 9-year-old kid like I was to understand.
Trolls are a mysterious race of people. Now, they're not the trolls that you would think of, the ones that hide under bridges with billy goats and shit. I'm talking about the people who sign up to YouTube just to cause trouble. And that's the only reason why they sign up to YouTube. To cause trouble.
Yeah, I was a bit too young to be watching this stuff, but don't act like I was alone in this. But I usually watched Al when he was covering topics I was accustomed to, when they were gamer related, or people I knew like the AVGN or Chris Boers. Whenever any drama involving guys I didn't know came up, I usually turned a blind eye to it because I didn't know these people or what they wanted. But now, as a 26-year-old man, I'm doing the opposite. You got to see the kind of stuff Al got on a daily basis in his comments. Now it's time I go out of my way to show you the stuff I ignored on his channel, and by the end you'll see why. It's time to get to the real meat.
I'm the Joker, baby!
If there's one thing to take from the RantTube era, it's that RantTubers fought. A lot. Every other day there was some feud between two different RantTubers for different reasons, or they had a disagreement on something. And God knows, the biggest cardinal sin you can make online is disagreeing with someone. Big Al would get into a few confrontations with a couple other RantTubers, but one of the most noteworthy ones was a RantTuber called Goronchev. Now who is Goronchev, you may ask? Well, I asked myself the same question. I had no idea who this guy was until I started doing research for this video. From what I could gather, Goronchev was just another RantTuber, and is one of the most by-the-numbers RantTubers I've ever seen.
When did the amount of subscribers become the ultimate barometer, the ultimate gold standard of success upon which we can compare various video bloggers?
This is genuinely the most generic-looking white guy I've ever seen online. Hell, he gives Germa a run for his money in terms of being a blank slate. Goronchev's origins seem to be from the hacker known as 4chan, where they hated his guts on there. He garnered the nickname Smug due to his obnoxious smug personality, and if there's one type of attitude I hate online, it's someone acting smug. This man has one of the most insufferable personalities I've ever seen online. Imagine your typical know-it-all pretentious YouTuber, but at the same time, they're a dude bro. He actually one time made a brief appearance on Fox News for an internet segment.
This site, called Brothers, is one of many virtual planning rooms where they share ideas.
These people are extremely organized. They pool their information together and they see what they have on individuals so they can more effectively stalk them and harass them and give them death threats.
So yeah, he was semi-popular back in the day. But then, his content started shifting in a different direction. Goronchev is a raging heterosexual. He likes intercourse and loves to talk about intercourse with women.
Oh, by the way, don't be jealous because I get hot girls while many of you can't even score a hag. The honeys can't seem to resist my swag.
And because of that, it started becoming the focal point of his channel. He would talk about his fantasies in every single video, and the fanbase he garnered didn't really like this shift in content because it just got tiring and gross. It's like if you watch The Amazing Atheist, where he started off ranting about current social issues, but then he starts shifting his content to exclusively talk about how much he loves bananas. Big Al was one of these fans of Goronchev, since he was a fellow rant tuber. He enjoyed Goronchev's content and even agreed with him on a lot of things. In fact, in one of his very first videos, Al says he's taken inspiration from Goronchev.
I decided that with the sudden popularity of Goronchev's rant videos, I decided to make one of my own.
But after this shift in content to Goronchev's wet dreams, Big Al lost interest in his channel and was vocal about it.
I thought he was a great guy. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was highly intelligent. And, yeah, he was one of my inspirations for ranting. I like his older videos, but I don't like his newer videos because they are not his vlogs. They are not vlogs. It's fantasies that he was talking about and I didn't want to hear about it. So I lost interest in him.
Not only that, but apparently Al had briefly joined this bodybuilding site that Goronchev personally despised, and because of this, it really pissed Goronchev off. He turned on Al and the two had a falling out. Months and months would pass when Goronchev finally makes an epic takedown video of Al, accusing him of being obsessed and stalking him online.
I've completely exposed you as the liar and the hypocrite that you are. I've exposed you as the kind of guy with incredibly questionable ethics.
But not too long after, Goronchev would release another video on Al, and this one was 46 minutes long. Now, that's paltry numbers today, but for 2008, a 46-minute takedown video on another YouTuber, this was unheard of. I don't even know how he was able to upload this, since YouTube still had his 10-minute limit back then. Maybe he pulled some strings, I don't know. The entire video is basically him trying to expose BigAl 2K6 as a liar and a stalker, and how he used him to get more subs.
Okay, folks, I will be directly quoting Big Al from his own channel. These are his own words, verbatim, and you folks can see his words right up there. I don't want there to be any misunderstanding.
I'm sorry, but with this 240p resolution, I can barely read that shit. A good majority of the video is just Goronchev nitpicking all of Al's comments while reading them while we stare at these grains of sand from the beach.
Al, if I was just jealous of people more popular than me, then I would attack the big fish. Once again, Al, you are pretty big, but you are nowhere near as big on YouTube as people like Chris Crocker.
46 minutes of this. 46 minutes. This video is the biggest nothing burger to ever nothing burger. And after all this, Al came out with his side of the story, detailing what it felt like to him.
He's the one writing down everything that I've ever said, everything that I've ever done, everything that I have said, and he's still doing it. So who's the stalker here?
This just became a mindless back and forth between the two, where no new breakthroughs or info came out about them, until it all finally fizzled out and the two stopped talking to each other. Although apparently, one of Big Al's fans got really pissed off from the whole debacle, and he just decided to mass flag and wipe Goronchev's videos on Al off YouTube.
I don't quite remember filing a copyright claim against myself.
But yeah, this was just everyday drama in the RantTuber circle, simply because Al dared disagree with Goronchev on something. They would both go on their separate ways and continue on with their careers, but Goronchev is someone you never hear from anymore. In fact, his YouTube channel doesn't even exist anymore. All of his YouTube videos have been mostly wiped, save for a few that were archived by his 3 fans. And just to remind you, Goronchev was the tamest of the people that had a fight with Al. This was just the appetizer. Although shockingly enough, I found out that Goronchev is still active online. He's active on a bunch of different social media sites. Everything but YouTube, ironically enough. And I was surprised to find out he's now an artist. And a high artist. Big Al would rub shoulders with many different types of YouTubers back in the day, mostly the ranters and the reviewers. Another one of these types of guys was Spax3. Now I've spoken about Spax3 2 years in my Sonic YouTubers of the Dark Age video, go check that out for more info, but long story short, Spax was one of the many clones of the angry video game nerd back in the day. He would review bad games and yell obscenities and destroy them with corny special effects. but his videos in particular had a special spice to them. They were overtly edgy.
Games that make you want to kill yourself!
The videos are constantly talking about murdering people. The game designers are different characters.
I'm eating pizzas!
Okay, just calm down.
What sick bastard thought of this?
I can name a few. The first one's probably Domino's Pizza so they can use this game as a marketing ploy.
I'll murder them!
He was just very try-hard with the whole thing. But it wasn't just his cringy reviews. The other thing about Spax was his obsession with Sonic the Hedgehog. Spax was incredibly overprotective of Sonic's image, to the point where he sent out flyers hoping Sega would replace Jason Griffith as Sonic, because he didn't believe he was right for the character.
Oh man, at this rate I'll be caught! Yeah, right!
Spax's obsession with Sonic and his overall abrasive and toxic personality made him quite the notorious figure back in the day, and what made things even worse was if you made a video criticizing him, he would file a copyright claim to take the video down, abusing the copyright system to silence criticism of him, and also threatened creators with legal action if his demands were not met. Spax was the main villain of YouTube during this time due to these actions. A lot of people outright despised him.
Tonight's epic rant is about a man. Actually, he's not even a man, he's a man-child. A very ignorant man-child. His name is Spax3. He is a Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man fanboy who doesn't quite understand how copyrights work.
I wanna sue like Viacom does. I wanna sue them out of their houses. Hopefully they won't file a... what do they call it? Oh, DMCA.
During this copyright rampage of his, Spax would take aim at one of his most vocal critics, a man named Guardian Earth 128. Now, due to circumstances outside my control, a lot of Guardian Earth stuff has been lost to time, and only a few videos of his have been able to survive. But from what I could gather, Guardian Earth would make fun of and parody Spax all the time, including these parody animations I'm showing.
And that's why Sonic the Abomination is terrible on both the 360 and the PS3. And it's your fault that I had to buy both versions at full price and such. Spack out.
But in all honesty, I don't really see why these two hate each other. Guardian Earth and Spax both seem to share a lot of viewpoints. They both have a raging hate boner for Jason Griffith as Sonic.
Why does Jason Griffith always talk like this, in this flatline voice that kind of makes him sound like a younger Big the Cat?
Because you lied in defense of a reject who has brought down the once proud personality and dignity of one of the world's most formally appreciated characters. Now he is hated by the outside community. We Sonic fans and the stupid little kids are now the only hope for this franchise.
Was this a case of the two competing to see who hated Jason Griffith more? I don't know. During one of his copyright strike rampages, Guardian Earth was hit with one, and this is the moment Spax screwed up because Al was a friend of Guardian Earth, and after he was affected by this, Al finally felt it was time to call Spax out on his bullshit.
As you all know, I cannot stand a user by the name of Spax3. Instead of boring you to tears with an in-depth chronicle on how Spax became a huge jerk with an outrageous ego, I'll try to keep it short and to the point. First of all, I used to respect him. I liked some of his work, he did pretty good reviews, and he seemed like to have the passion for filmmaking. At least that's how he used to be. Leave Guardian Earth the f*** alone. Since he seems to be a bit intimidated by you to make any more DA journals on you, which I honestly don't blame him, I'm going to say for him. And I remember the little chat we all had on Skype. You demanded a full video apology from him to be posted on YouTube. Newsflash, douche, he doesn't owe you a goddamn thing. If anything, you owe him several apologies.
And after Al called Spax out, something in Spax finally flipped. For some reason, this call-out and the interactions he had with Al made Spax somewhat finally see the error of his ways. He actually left YouTube for a while, and when he came back, apparently he and Al had a private conversation where they made amends and decided to become pals. This friendship would be legendary, and surely you can trust a man that looks like this. Spax and Al were BFFs now, with Spax soon to make his very own website, the Game Toon Zone, for him and his content creator friends. Basically a very, very shitty version of that guy with the glasses. And Al was right there to join and put his own videos on the site. He would send Al various gifts to show his gratitude. The two were such good pals at this point in time that they even met up with each other at a huge Michigan convention called YumaCon in 2010, although all surviving footage of the two at this convention has been lost to time. In fact, what happened after Al and Spax became pals has been lost to time, so the details here are a bit murky. However, I have a source I'll reveal later who was kind enough to fill in the blanks. If you didn't know already, the friendship between Al and Spax was short-lived, because you can't change who Spax is. He was always bound to relapse into his petty old self, and that's exactly what happened. Apparently the entire trip at YumaCon that year was soured because Spax was trying to make it very business-oriented, and was filming everything he could for content, trying to make skits, and it was sort of ruining Al's enjoyment at the convention. After Al told Spax he was ruining his time, Spax immediately regressed and the two were back to being enemies. Once they got back to their homes, Spax threatened to, what else, sue Al unless Al gave back all the gifts he sent to him. But Al absolutely refused to do so and told Spax to kiss his ass, and then they never spoke to each other again. Eventually Spax's website would tank due to the guy just becoming a laughingstock. Absolutely nobody took him seriously.
Yo, I'm Alexhead the Hedgehog. I'm kind of low on emotions due to my dark feelings, but I am one of the good guys.
And he and his website would eventually fade into obscurity. Honestly, I may have to give Spax his own video at some point, as even though this is the second time he's been talked about on my channel, I'm still only scratching the surface with him. We'll see what the future holds. The moral of the story here is, don't trust people who abuse the copyright system and try to befriend them, especially if they look like this. After being quite active and popular on YouTube, Al would at one point hit 15,000 subs, which for late 2000s YouTube was quite a lot. However, there was trouble in paradise. While Al was probably one of the more popular rant tubers around the time, YouTube would out of nowhere suddenly suspend his channel for apparently copyright reasons. Yeah, after all the stuff on his channel, all the ranting, all the disputes, all the slurs, it was copyright that finally took Al's channel down. And it's believed it was actually one of his most popular videos that did it too. The Jesus Camp rant was flagged for copyright and it took down his channel because of it. Of course Al was baffled by this, and while he had a few choice words on the matter.
For copyright infringement, YouTube has decided to have the balls to suspend my account. It was from their own goddamn site. Someone uploaded the Jesus Camp video.
Well, being that 15,000 subs was a massive amount of subs around the time, you just don't walk away from that. So Al would create a brand new account called BigAl the Rant Master to continue doing business as usual. But now he had to start his channel from scratch again, but this account wouldn't last too long either. This one also got terminated, but for a different reason. One of Big Al's trolls named Master Borracho used multiple alt accounts to mass flag his videos for hate speech, and successfully got the channel taken down.
This is the second time that YouTube has suspended me due to false flagging bullshit. Now, I would be lying if I said I wasn't pissed off, because, to be honest, I am a little bit ticked.
So what else to do but create a third channel, BigAl Forever 2K6, where he would now suspend it again. So then he would create a fourth channel, BigAl 2K10, the 10 representing the minutes it would last before getting suspended again. Al had gone through 4 channels in a year. It seems YouTube and the enemies he made really hated him. So obviously, YouTube wasn't going to work out for him anymore. He made it clear he was posting his content elsewhere. It should be noted that Al was not the only person suffering from this, because around 2009/2010, YouTube was notoriously cracking down hard on video content, because it was becoming more mainstream. And because it was becoming more mainstream, more advertisers wanted a piece, and more advertisers started noticing the content on this site wasn't really advertiser friendly. Not to mention all the copyrighted material everywhere, with full movies and TV shows uploaded in chunks on the site. A lot of people started getting irritated with the site and wanted to move elsewhere, where they would be treated better. A lot of you who are much older will probably remember the plethora of YouTube killer websites. Websites that would treat their creators with more respect and would ultimately destroy YouTube and take its place as the top dog. One of these websites was blip.tv, a site that not only had less copyright restrictions, but also paid them more revenue. So if you were a creator, you had more incentive to use Blip. Al decided it was probably time to shift gears over to Blip, since a lot of other content creators were doing so.
But I think right now I'm getting more views on Blip than I am on YouTube, which is surprising.
But what many failed to account for was if some of their fans were also willing to shift over to Blip, and a lot really weren't. So Al gets his channel suspended 4 times, losing more and more subs each time, and now shifts over to a website with a fraction of the user base. He would upload his stuff here, but as many are probably aware by now, YouTube is still alive, and all the YouTube killers back in the day, well, let's just say YouTube wasn't the site they ended up killing. So now all the creators who left during this time, with their tail between their legs, went back to YouTube. But at this point, Al's fanbase had been fractured. He still uploaded content on the daily, but now he wasn't getting nearly the views he once was. The majority of his fanbase had checked out at this point, me included. Most rant tubers at the start of the 2010s were on the downtrend. They all went through the same phase of everyone just kinda using different social medias to make their opinions heard. Al and his content was always destined to be faded out. But he was different because YouTube and his detractors tried so hard to stomp out his content and limited his reach and popularity. His content was entertaining for the time and really showed you anyone could be a YouTuber if they wanted to be. It sounds like I'm wrapping things up here, but actually, there's one more person Al would face in his time on YouTube. One that surpasses even YouTube itself in the amount of grief they caused him. And some of you, no, a lot of you, may recognize him. Two years ago, I made a video called The Story of Chibi, the World's Saddest Speedrunner. In this video, I detailed the story of the guy who was told to shut the fuck up at Summer Games Done Quick 2014.
I would really prefer if you would be quiet.
I have stated a number of times, but I'm going to state it here for the final time. I am not proud of this video. It was the first video I have done of this style, and like they say, your first work is never your best. I really spent the majority of the video just cracking bad jokes and not really being informative. I tried too hard to focus on the cringe moments and purposely overreacted in an attempt to be funny. I just don't think it's a good reflection of my work. And what hurts me the most is, as of April 2025, this is my most popular video to date. It's almost at 2 million views. It's arguably the video that officially put me on people's radar. Bigger YouTubers have watched and reacted to it.
I didn't know Mr. Garrison made videos. We're talking about speedrunning today, okay?
When I made the video, there wasn't really a comprehensive video on Chibi at the time. Now there's dozens of them, probably as a direct result of my video. It did all of this, and I still think the video sucks. But you know what? I've decided enough is enough. No more complaining about the video, no more making excuses and coping in the comments about it. Today, I'm going to make up for my sins. I'm going to show you all what I should have shown you 2 years ago. Now you're probably wondering, why am I bringing this up now? Why am I bringing this up seemingly out of nowhere? Well, that will be because Big Al has a special connection to Chibi nobody else has. Big Al knows Chibi better than anyone else.
Hello everyone! It is I, BigAl 2K6.
And I am Chibi Necodemics.
Al didn't meet Chibi online or on a couch. Big Al was Chibi's best friend. Now just a heads up, from this point forward, to avoid future confusion, I'm going to address Chibi by his real name, which is Adam. Adam and Al met in college and became the best of friends. They did tons of things together. They made videos together, they went to conventions together. Even when Spax hired Al to be a part of his god-awful website, Adam was right there doing videos on the site too. They were two peas in a pod. But while they were best friends, there were soon to be issues. And just for the record, I'm making damn sure I don't mess anything up this time. And to make absolutely sure of that, I went straight to the source. If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful.
You're a big Al.
For you?
So, it was in college. And I was in the cafeteria / rec room one day, and I see this kid. He's alone at a table, and he's sketching something. And I walked by him, and I was, just being curious as to what he was drawing, and it was the fucking characters from the Zelda CDI games. And I'm like, hey, is that fucking YouTube Poops? And he jolts up in his seat, and he's like, oh my god! Finally, someone else who knows what they are.
Al was with Adam through his ups and downs, his college days, his father's death. Whenever he and his mom got into a fight, he went and crashed at Al's place. Whenever Adam was hungry and had no food, Al would feed him. Al would drive him places and even try to get him jobs at places he worked at. Adam would take and take and take, and Al never asked for anything in return, because Adam was his best friend.
We would go to the mall, we play video games, we hung out at each other's houses, we go to get-togethers with other friends, typical stuff that good friends would do with each other. Whatever movie was playing, we checked that out. Mundane shit, really.
But sadly, Adam's personality is what ultimately did the friendship in. You see, what I failed to address in the last video was to tell you the one side of Adam which I did not bring up at all. Which would be, Adam is a notorious sex pest. Adam was constantly trying to find new ways to get into the pants of any lady that looked in his direction. And to all the ladies watching, which is surprisingly 12% of my audience, higher than I expected, aren't you just foaming at the mouth to get jiggy with this god among men? How many girlfriends did Adam have in college?
Several, actually. I actually know one of them is actually one of my best friends nowadays. But honestly, I think they were all just pity relationships. Like, dated him out of some, like, they felt bad for him that nobody wanted to date him, so they just, bit the bullet and regretted it immediately afterwards.
Now, why did I not mention any of this in my last vid? Well, I just didn't do enough research. I went for basic-ass surface-level knowledge about Adam. Hell, I didn't even know he and Big Al had any connection until after I made the video on him. I not only felt to let the audience know about this, but I also felt to let them know about other things he's done, including crashing one of his mom's dates while dressed as Joker from Persona 5, and also, allegedly, singing a Japanese anime song at his dad's funeral. Did Adam actually play a Japanese anime song at his dad's funeral?
Yeah, it was a Bleach AMV. I was there as it happened. This was after his stepmom came to me and it's like, listen, you're the only friend he has. You don't have many. He doesn't really have anybody else. You've always been there for him. You've been there for thick and thin, better or worse, what have you. She's like, please take care of my boy. And then I walk in there and he's singing a fucking anime song with his dad's corpse being there. And keep in mind, I don't know what political affiliation his dad was, but he was very, like, traditional bootstrap American. He thought Adam was wasting his time with anime and video games. He thought he wasn't applying himself enough to make himself something, the typical like rough but loving father figure, and here he is, playing a AMV over his corpse.
The sex pest side of him was the straw that broke the camel's back. You see, in my last video, I showed a section where someone would call Adam's mother and claim that he had sent a picture of his hamster to an underage 17-year-old.
Yes, ma'am. I had some information I wanted to share you that your son has posted pictures of his pecker online, and he admitted to sending them to a 17-year-old girl.
What?
And according to everything I could find, this was a troll and it didn't actually happen. They were just purposely trying to cause problems. It wasn't true at the time. And then it turns out later Adam Wynn actually did it for real. Allegedly. And once Al found out, after all the years they spent together, Al cut Adam off completely, and the two didn't speak for a very long time. Now Adam was basically on his own, taking on the world and the online world, dealing with all the trolls and harassment, which he got not just for being very cringe and cheating at a speedrun, but for also being a perv. After the whole couch incident with Adam and Caveman, he was now this little micro-celebrity with his own little fandom. But, they weren't fans of his for the reasons he was thinking of. They all just saw him as a little circus act, who would constantly do something stupid for attention, and they were there to document it and laugh at it. Probably one of the dumbest things Adam ever did was attempting to make his own #MeToo post. You see, years and years of festering hatred for other speedrunners and associates finally boiled over, and on June 22nd, 2020, he would make this novel in twitlonger form. One of these included getting assaulted by another streamer, and also calling PewDiePie out for making that video on the couch incident, which got Adam a ton of harassment. But sandwiched between all of this, he mentions Al and when he was shacked up with Al while he was in college. He had some choice things to say about Al, most of them being negative. This entire twitlonger got the attention of some people, including Al, who was needless to say, heartbroken. This was his best friend for years, mind you, perhaps his only friend, and he just threw him under the bus like this. Not only that, but later on, Adam would go on stream and talk about someone he used to be friends with, never mentions them by name, but it's pretty obvious who he's talking about.
I will not mention by name, because I hate his guts, and the very mention of him makes my blood boil. He was a YouTuber who found me when I originally went to community college, and we became friends because we bonded over YouTube poops. And he'd call me the F word. He'd almost always said the N word with the hard R. He was basically prime Redditor material, is what I would call him. Like full neck beard and everything. So I kind of latched onto that friendship because I didn't have anybody else. And he saw that as an opportunity to take advantage of me.
This pretty much cemented the fact the two were no longer friends, in any capacity. A year or so would pass, and Adam would do other cringe-inducing things, like his trip to Japan where he made an ass of himself. Literally. About 2 months after I made that video on him, which gassed him up and made him look like he was just some innocent small bean, he got kicked from ColossalCon, one of the biggest conventions in the Midwest, for sending unsolicited nude photos of himself on Facebook. Yeah, he went and had a complete meltdown. This would spark Al and others to come out and give their experience with Adam, and just how he always acted.
I saw this and immediately saw red. So I've decided to post in the ColossalCon Facebook group because, as I've said before and many times over, I'm probably the closest friend Adam has ever had. Do not believe for a second that he has learned the error of his ways and is going to grow as a bigger, better person. This is probably the 5th or 6th time he's done this stunt, and it certainly won't be the last. He does this constantly. He is so predictable, you can set a watch to him. Kiwi Farms even places bets as to what he'll do next, and they are almost always right. It is a constant cycle that repeats itself. And someone on the farms, said that Adam is the Ouroboros of cringe. It's just a vicious cycle.
This would all come to a head when shortly after this vid by Al, someone was able to get a hold of Adam for an interview, just asking him various questions about his life story, and then suddenly, he brought on Al to finally talk to Adam for the first time in years. The end result is, well, I just want you to listen for yourself.
Been a long time since we spoke. I mean, a very long time. A lot has happened. A lot of time has passed. I know you definitely think badly of me, as does most everyone. And I just want to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything that I've done. I'm sorry for all the lives that I've hurt. I'm sorry for all the friends that I've hurt, and yourself included. I really wish that things could have ended on better terms, and I know I did a lot of dumb stuff when it came to my dating history, and I'm just now getting to the root of a lot of those problems that have faced me for, like I said, decades, that I didn't even realize were issues to begin with.
Well, I honestly don't have much to say. I don't have much to say about all the, stories, because I wasn't there for them, so I can't really comment on that. But there is one thing I do want to ask Adam, and that is, was he always planning on throwing me under the bus eventually, or did that come after I cut ties with him?
Are you saying me? Like me throwing you under the bus?
Where I'm under the story of a...
I remember the one. At the time that I wrote that, I was really angry. I had a lot of resentment inside of me, and I was trying to find any cause for blame that I could. What I wrote in that twitlonger was wrong. I should never have wrote that about you.
I drove you places. I fed you. I gave you I opened my door for you. I drove you places way out of my way so you can go to job interviews. I was your fucking shoulder to cry on. I was there when your dad died. I'm probably the best friend you'll ever had. I was there when everyone else left.
I didn't acknowledge the good things.
How could you, Adam? After everything I've done for you. And I know I'm not perfect, but goddammit, I was there for you.
I know you were. It's okay, man. Let it out.
Just hearing Al break down on call over his best friend betraying him hurts so much to hear. And Adam is just sitting there, completely emotionless. There is nothing there.
Zach, let me chime in with this. I just poured out 10 years worth of anguish and pain onto you, and you sound like the fucking Clear Eyes guy. Absolutely no emotion, no remorse. So, what the f was I to you, Adam?
It doesn't sound like I have remorse in my voice, but I do. And I didn't want to be overly emotional on the call.
Even after we drifted apart and weren't talking to each other as much, I still went out of my way to invite you to events, to invite you to my events, to invite you to make you feel wanted, Adam. To make you feel at home. To make you feel loved.
And all I did was spit in your face.
Yeah.
Can you see why these two split apart? And after this call, they went back to never speaking to each other again, to this very day.
The only thing I could say, Adam, is good luck. Good luck to you. You're gonna need it. I do hope things change. I'm not holding my breath. I do hope eventually you do find whatever happiness you're looking for. But that's it. You'll get none of it from me.
I mean, I can't really say more than what I've already said, but I do want to thank you for everything. And thank you for being one of the best friends that I could have ever had.
My final conclusion is, Caveman did nothing wrong.
I would really prefer if you would be quiet.
I just felt the need to show you all the story of someone who I grew up watching, and just how hard he got screwed over. Every single person in this video he went up against were all his friends at one point, who all turned on him in one way or another.
My girlfriend at the time was dressed as a character from Homestuck named Tavros, and their wheelchair, and the character is wheelchair bound, and she had a wheelchair. Spax thought it would be absolutely fucking hilarious to take her in this wheelchair, run at full speed, and just let her fly while she was still in the wheelchair. Well, wouldn't you know it, there was a bump in the road. There was a bump in the sidewalk. The wheel hits the bump, and she goes flying, like leaps up out of her seat. Now, luckily, she caught herself before she hit face first to the ground, but it ruined her Homestuck horns. Like it broke them off the headband, and she's lucky that she wasn't seriously injured. In fact, Spax is lucky she wasn't seriously injured, because I would have absolutely beat the fuck out of him that day.
So after all that and finally getting to speak with Al himself, what is he up to today? Well, he has a smaller YouTube channel that thankfully hasn't gotten taken down yet, where he posts updates on his life. I asked him how things are going, and well, he had some pretty nice things to tell me.
Working my dream job as a chef in a country club. I'm making more money than I ever did. I'm just taking life as it comes, you know. I got my own house that I share with my mom. I got all the friends that I care about in the world. I got I'm living in a place that I love, surrounded by all the autistic shit I could dream of. My Ghostbuster shrine and my Nintendo shrine and all of my arcade posters and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, obviously I don't make as many videos as I used to, but that's okay. I just make a video about what's on my mind and throw it up there, and if people enjoy it, they enjoy it, and if not, well, whatever.
The internet is a crazy place that makes you crazy. And maybe everyone should take cues from Al and take a step back from it to live your own life. God bless, like and subscribe, and good night. I leave you with this. Welcome to the internet, bitch!